Well, we're here at Santa Fe Restaurant, Picacho Hills, where we're going to talk about tamales. You know, it's that time of year again where it's a New Mexico energy bar. That's what I call it. Well, there's a big history of tamales. Tamales go way back. I'm talking about 7,000, 5,000 years. Our ancestors, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the women would make them for them before they went out to battle. As far as they used to make them out of frog, out of shrimp, out of anything that was in the Central America and South Mexico jungles. Not until the Spaniards came over here, they introduced pork in the 15th century, somewhere around there. So there's a lot of rich history, and tamales has been a staple for many, many generations, for thousands of years. Okay, my process of making tamales, well, it started when I was a little boy, knee-high to a jumba, with Grandma Lupita, Grandma Juanita. We used to gather around the table, kitchen back in those good old days when I was a little boy. So what they would do, they would get, lean pork shoulder, pork picnic, and boil it, either put it in a pressure cooker or just boil it with the seasonings, I prefer seasoning, onion, garlic, bay leaves, a little bit of black pepper, and salt to taste. And then in addition to that, they would have the ristras on the outside. They would remove them from the outside. They would wash them, stem them, take the seeds off, and bring them to a boil. And then in the blender, they would blend them up. They would cook the chili, and then gradually add the meat to a shredded meat and get a savory, nice and moist red chili meat tamal feel. So that was one of the steps right there. The crucial part is the masa. So the masa, everybody has their recipes. It's like rock and roll. Everybody has their tune, but this is the way Santa Fe Grill does it. This is our tune. So what we do, we get, say, 20 pounds of the dry masa mix. We add about, say, for example, for about 20 pounds, I would add about 2 pounds of melted lard. You could also use olive oil. You could use butter, but to get the real authentic item, you want to use the lard. Then this is a key ingredient a lot of people don't use. Baking powder there, it elevates, it enhances the texture of the flour. So you massage it in there, a pinch of salt, you massage it in there really, really well, mix everything in there really well, make sure it has a little bit of moisture. And if you need a little bit more moisture, well, if you have some broth left over from the pork that you cooked, you could add some in there just to give it a little massage, a little moisture. They get a little pinch of the masa, and then they dropped it, it was sunk to the bottom of the glass. It wasn't ready. It had to float. It means they needed more massaging, so they would go back to work. Also, what I like to do, a little splash of the red chili in there while it's massaging there, so give it that nice red texture, color, you know what I mean? It comes out really, really flavorful and all. So that's the way we've been making the tamales lately. And get the corn husks, put them in hot water. Just let them soak in hot water and get them nice and moist and wet. And then, sometimes they have a little bit of debris in there. That's why you want to wash them. You don't want no dirt in there because, it comes from the field. So what you want to do is get the smooth side down. And then my mother likes to use a spoon, like a flat spoon. But, I'm in the business, so I use a rubber spatula, a thin rubber spatula, and it just rubs it on beautifully, nice and even, and then you get your meat in there, roll it up, and you stack them up. Here in New Mexico, it's about red and green. So a lot of people, they do green chili and cheese, which is really good. And I recommend that for my vegetarian friends. And on that, on that masa, I will not use lard. I'll use olive oil, and it comes out really, really good. This part right here, it's a really nice good pot right here. There's a little water level right there. There's a skimmer there, so it could produce a steam and the tamales won't get wet. It just goes to a steam. Really, what you want to do on a pot like that with about 80 to 90 tamales, you would bring it to boil for 15 minutes, and bring it to boil, and then simmer for 2 hours, 2.5 hours to 2 hours and 45 minutes. So what we do, we pull the tamal out. Normally I get the chubbiest one, the fattest one, because that one's always it's gonna take the longest to cook. So I get one of those out, let it sit for a couple of minutes, maybe a minute or two. And then this is a trick. You let it sit, it's steaming beautifully, it smells delicious in the kitchen. And what you do, you just lift the husk, and if it unravels, it's done, it's perfect. So look at that, look how beautiful it peeled off. So that tamales cooked to perfection right there, guys. That's the way we do it. We've been making them for the last 2 weeks of November and the last, the first week of December. So, right now we've probably gone through like about, 100 dozen already that are sold and ordered already and paid for. Always been a staple in the cold season to have a nice hot tamal off the steamer. Santa Fe Grill is known for their tamales.